Okay, okay. Um, I only have like 2 hours to do this. Yeah, exactly 2 hours. And because I want to watch Overlord. I mean, those delayed today, which kind of sucks. And yeah, so this is a 4 game series, so it might be a little bit longer, and I might have to do some of it a little bit later. And but just looking at this draft, I think it's just not gonna go too much into it because I don't think that this meta in particular isn't going to be as important in like worlds, because this is like 8.15 and this was before the huge break that happened in like the Asian games or whatever. And just the first thing that happened in the series was like in the playoffs itself, one of the main things that was kind of occurring was that Spirit was, or Africa Freaks were letting Talia go. Talia was a pick and like on red side. Aatrox and Talia were banned almost every single time, and Africa Freaks were letting it go purposely in the series against Kingzone, and also I think Genji. Yeah, and one of the main counters that they had was the Olaf, especially looking at Predator Olaf and also Predator Gragas. And in this series, as you can see from Kingzone's draft, their first 3 picks are basically picked blind. Looking at this, they have their jungle, mid, and also their top laner. Now, there can be some flex scenarios here, like Ryze can go mid. Ryze can go top. Jace can go mid. Actually, no. Yeah, Jace can go mid, then like this guy can go mid, or like this guy could go, Jace can go bot. Like something can happen, but it's very, very unlikely, and most likely Khan's going to play Jace because that was his most played back in spring. And then Ryze is going to be played mid, and Talia is going to play jungle. Like that's the most standard vanilla thing that's going to happen. But the most important thing that happens here in Kingzone actually picks it blind. So Africa Freaks basically gets to counter the whole top side, and that can be a pretty dramatic thing for Kingzone. The other thing is that Africa Freaks had priority in terms of first picking their bottom lane. So they picked Alistar and Varus. In terms of strength in lane, that's very, very good. The only ones that they had to kind of worry about was, again, the Tom Kench, and also maybe the Ashe. And I think that this is fine. Kai'Sa's fine with Rakan if they had more aggressive lanes in the other side of things. But in terms of the way they did it, it's going to be counterpicked. So their pressure is not going to be as important in those specific lanes. So as I see it, like even Africa Freaks, they pick Talon last, and assuming that's like a good matchup for Kingzone, then like the Ryze versus Talon matchup, it's just like not a good time. And I'm just assuming like the idea is that they're picking Talon here because he can like one, get a lead in the, not lead, but like he can wave clear faster, I'm assuming. And also because of the pushing lanes in the side lanes, you have a really good 2v2 roam with Olaf, and then you can maybe go top, maybe go bottom. And overall, like when you look at the side lanes, you have a lot of CC. So that level 6 mark is going to be very important for Africa Freaks. And right now I'm going to do like a new style of VOD reviews where I actually look at the game of Legends, because I don't think that looking at the whole thing is very beneficial. So I'm gonna, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'm gonna try this and see if like there's a huge difference with doing this in like another way if I'm like losing some stuff. Where is it? LCK Summer Playoffs. There you go. Yeah, so overall, I really like Africa Freaks' draft here. Kingzone draft is kind of, I wouldn't say bad, but like they have to really snowball the early game, especially top side, to really win the game. If they win the split push, then yeah, good, awesome. But level 6 Africa Freaks are really gonna turn on, and I feel like the pressure that Kingzone has in the 1 to 6 area is not gonna be as important. It's not gonna like be like, what do you call this? Like, it's not gonna be as like impactful. Like, I feel like of course Kingzone Africa Freaks is gonna survive like not mid, but like bottom lane, but mid and top is going to be a farm till 6, and they can definitely have the ways to kind of like do not die between those moments, you know. So that's fine, and I think that's one thing to definitely look at it. Oh god. Yeah. And also, like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, this draft's just pretty bad by Kingzone. I'm not even looking at the picks, the bans or whatever, so I don't think it's as important. But yeah, Kramer on Swain is also kind of problematic. And what I'm gonna see here is that the Africa Freaks will either target top side, but I would probably see, like, probably first gank would probably be bottom side, and then level 6 can really go wherever. Well, we'll see. I'm just kind of guessing though, because Spirit can really go wherever he wants, and that level 6 is going to be really important. And by that moment, that it's just going to be super bad for Kingzone, because Kingzone really has a snowball top side. Because if they win the split push and they survive everything, the 1-3-1 here is actually kind of okay, even though Kaisa is naturally not a really good 1-3-1 champion, like in the mid, because of the lack of what do you call this, like, wave clear that he has. But you do have the Talia, and the thing that I like about this is that this 3 isn't really there to kind of survive in the mid lane, but they're supposed to. Like, that's one thing that's really important in a 1-3-1 composition. But Kingzone, Talia and Kaisa and Talia can go for like ganks and stuff like that. So that if they have priority, that's one thing that they can do. What I like doing right now is actually doing this and just seeing like how the game kind of falls out, and then see who wins. So as you can see, everything is very Africa Freaks centered, and that was just kind of based on the draft itself. First kill, again, 6 minutes is going to be very important, as you can see here, level 6. So we just go there. Maybe I should look at the early game pathing. That's actually important, because I think early game pathing is very important. So we'll look at that first, and then we'll go to 6 minutes. Okay, so early game, kind of cheeky by Kingzone. They're trying to do a little bit something interesting, but not really working. A little bit of dance moves in the mid lane and dance moves in the top lane. One thing interesting is Alistar is top. I don't know what he is doing there. I'm assuming that he's gonna go bot soon, but he has boots of speed, so he should be going there at a quick pace. So they both start top side. Talia, it looks like he's going for a full clear top. Maybe I should like look at jungle clears a little bit more in depth. That might be important. I'll do that for Worlds. Yeah, that might be something that I need to look at. So he just went for the whole top side. I like usually when like teams pick up Scuttle here first, is that to protect like the top laner from, or like a specific lane to actually go aggressive. Like over here, Khan has a ward here and he has a Scuttle here, so he's pretty much safe to go aggressive on Keen. Spirit doesn't really have his Predator right now, so he can't go for a lane gank. So Khan can basically bully him in the first few minutes of the game, and you can see that by the fact that Khan is all the way up in this beige right here. Oh yeah. There you go. So Spirit's going for more of a full clear bottom. Yeah. But one thing that I do want to say here is that Spirit is going very fast in terms of his clear, while Peanut is kind of slow. Because right now, Peanut has only done... Yeah, Peanut has only done not that much. The top side, he hasn't even touched his bottom side yet. But did he start bot? Oh yeah, he did start bot. Okay, I'm stupid. But still, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, they're about the same. Yeah, they're about the same. So their pathing is kind of mirrored, except that their scuttle control are a little bit more different. And then yeah, nothing really interesting in the early game. I'm mainly looking at, has Spirit not backed yet? Okay, he backed. Wait, is there like a gank mid? Okay, no gank mid. What's happening here? What is this? Gorilla might be caught. Doesn't really happen. Okay, good. Oh, Gorilla went to ward after they pushed the lane. Pretty standard. Usually what he should do is probably like back and then do this, because right now that's a little bit sketch in my opinion. Yeah, that's a pretty big mistake by Gorilla, because he could have died there if Tucson was faster. A little bit of party in the mid lane, but level 6. Let's go 7. Okay, first blood happens in the bottom lane. It's just like a 1v1. So okay, oh okay. Prey just suicides. Okay, then top. Okay, Prey suicides. Okay, gank top. And go 2 for 1 top. 2 for 2. Right, that's 2 for 2, right? No, they went 2 for 1. What's this? Like, why is it top lane? Because bot has already been boomed by like Africa Freaks, and the one thing that I don't like is because I think that if you're Spirit, yeah, you would go top right here, right? The problem is that there's a ward right here and a ward right there. This ward right here, they already, because of that, they already what's his face has like the jump on, but it's Rise and he can realm warp. So he came in first. No, he didn't even came in first. It was just like basic. It's just Keen got chunked out faster. He just got chunked out too fast, and Spirit wasn't able to kill Talia. But as you can see though, like Afrika can like fight like Khan, Peanut, and BDD, even though like those 3 look very strong, and the 2 really damaging for Spirit is Spirit and Kuro, you know. And if it was just like a 2v2, I think that yeah, it could have gone anyways. Yeah, it's just I don't know, it's weird, but like it could have gone anyway. The important thing here is that Afrika are looking for top lane, which makes sense, and they were the ones that initiated it. But again, BDD can run more top, even though he was pushed in, and also Peanut can go there pretty fast because he uses ulti, as you can see. So maybe that's how. But the thing that I don't like is that it's Afrika being aggressive here rather than Kingzone. You don't really want something like this to happen, because even if this situation happens, this, in my opinion, is still A plus for Afrika, because if you look at it, he died once and he got a kill, but that doesn't, like, him dying, like, that doesn't really accelerate his, like, lane, you know. Like, if Jace just got one kill and lived, it would have been fine. But I think it's fine for Afrika. They're okay. But that's really that. But overall, though, that's really good for Kingzone, and they were able to get that and they won that. But they need to be a little bit more aggressive in the top lane. And Afrika is now focusing a lot on the top lane. You can see Spirit is over there. He even backed. Good game knowledge by Khan though. What's the next thing that happens? Wait, what the fuck? 9, 11:02. I think I just love doing this. So dragon is the next factor. Okay, we'll try doing like this. Just like looking at the big moments. See if this like is a good version of VOD review. Okay, this is the other fight. Now, how does this happen? So he just pushes up mid fast, and then he goes roams top, and then goes for a fight. Yeah, pretty much. That's what you would expect from a Talon mid. And also, like, after Keen gets ultimate, then top lane is pretty freaking boom in my opinion. And look at the items, he already has Frozen Heart. Pretty bad for Kingzone. Now they are having a little bit more priority in the bottom side of things, going for this Drake. What else after that? 12:45 Peanut Drake. Oh, wait, does he steal it? Oh, they just take it? How did they just back off for no reason? Okay, it's because there's three mid and there's 2 of them, and they were kind of split. And then they just do it. I really like it when top laners do this. Look at the wards that Kingzone has top though. One here, one there, and he even puts a ward in red buff. Okay, they started because they know that Spirit's top lane. That might have been a big mistake by Kingzone. I mean Freaker Freaks, because they just lose Baron for no reason here. Because Spirit was just messing around top. I don't think that was important. That was not important at all. 14:45. So big mistake by Kingzone there. Okay, now they are trying to make a play mid. But both teams are trying to make a play mid. Okay. Khan is pretty late on his TP here. Yeah, that was a super late TP. And the thing that I want to put on here is that Spirit can fight the Peanut in the 2v2. Like, this 2v2 with Spirit and Ikora was actually pretty disgusting, especially against the Rise and Peanut. But that was also a really late really late TP. But they had no recollection of actually seeing it. does that see it from there? I think that does. So that's just a super late TP by Kingzone. Or if it doesn't see it, then I guess it's understandable. But maybe he should just TP it in like faster though. Or maybe he just don't TP and actually go for the top lane. Also, bottom lane is getting destroyed, just 2v2. It's like straight up 2v2 bots just getting destroyed. Like as you can see while all that's happening, Gorilla dies for no reason. And honestly, like after this game should be over. Because I think this was a draft problem by Kingzone, and also Prey and Gorilla just kind of inted bottom lane. Like the death by Prey earlier, that was pretty bad. Yeah, Prey dies, so they take it. So they kill BDD. Peanut kills. Gorilla dies, then they take Herald. Then BDD kills Keen at 1804. Okay, because they go bum rush bot. As you can see, like this 3 is the main aggressor for Kingzone, but in the early game they didn't really do anything. So I think it's hard to do something against this team comp. But maybe they should have been a little bit more aggressive. But they couldn't because mid lane was getting pushed in. So even if top lane is pushing, mid being pushed makes it hard for Peanut to go for aggressive engages to the enemy jungle. And the problem is that he can't really duel Spirit and like 1v1, and the 2v2s are a little bit hard. Like I would prefer a 2v2 top, but it's just hard to do because Hiro can get there pretty fast, especially pre-6, where that was like the main time that Peanut should have been like doing stuff. But now they're just getting turrets, and it should be pretty easy. I don't like the fact that they're just giving this Drakes for free though. This is pretty bad by Freaker Freaks. I don't like the fact that they're just giving these Drakes away, because Drake, especially Red Drake, can make a pretty fire album, and that can be a pretty big mistake for Freaker Freaks, especially in the late game, because Kai'Sa's like team fighting wise, it's still pretty good even though they don't have a tank. If there's like if there's a team where you're like, oh, something could happen, it would definitely be Kingzone. You know, even though they're like not the best in the world right now at this moment. I really like the wards that, but this is also because of the amount of pressure they have mid and top. They have just super amount of wards in top lane. Jace is gonna have a hard time against Ornn because Ornn has a lot of armor. He's not really gonna die as fast as you would think. This is nice by Kingzone. They can have a lapse of vision here, maybe make a play, but the lack of engage is always gonna be something that is worrying, and they just can get caught really easily. So yeah, and yeah, they can do this because Peanut's down. They can go for Baron, and while they do that, they do get some kills. So far, nobody has died from Freak of Freaks except for Tucson. Yep, it's 3 for, yeah, they killed 3 for 1, while top and bottom are pushing. Yep, I really like this talent pick by Freak of Freaks. Yep, pretty GG. I think it's done from there. I don't know if like maybe I should be like looking at this a little bit more in depth, but I just don't know what I'm I think one, I don't know what I'm looking for, and two, I don't know what's like important or not. Because what I see from here is that it's like a drafting problem, and most of the stuff that I did kind of saw in terms of draft were kind of seen in terms of the game itself. But maybe it's because it's like a confirmation bias. So yeah, I'm gonna like try to improve my bot reviews. I want it to be as effective as possible, and as of right now, um, I'm looking at it more as like the drafting and which lanes have priority, and then how they play out those lanes. The problem here is that I don't really know how Kingzone wins. The only way that I saw that the Kingzone win was like a little bit of early aggression in the top lane. And also the other problem is that I think my purpose, for me, like what I'm looking for in a VOD review is if something interesting happens. You know, if something cool happens, and how that's one of them, but also like how a specific team plays a certain composition and how they win with a certain composition. And as from here, what I saw here was that Africa Freaks played pick champions that Kingzone kind of played very they drafted very cockily, like very cocky in terms of blind picking all these three champs, and because of that they were able to kind of counter the top lane. Also, this talent pick was like really cool from them. It's a really nice it's a nice like replacement for like the Galio, where like you use the Galio ultimate to actually go into the lane, and I really like it into the Rise because you can outpush him, and then you have a little bit more priority. So I really like that as kind of like a Galio replacement. Like if you put Galio here, it would have been fine, but the mix of Talon has a little bit more damage, and they already have a tank, so it's fine. Like if Keen was playing something that scaled a little bit better, but was a little bit more squishy, like a what do you call this? Like I don't know, like something like that. Maybe like a Fiora or something like that off the top of my dome, and then the Galio would make sense here. Then you could just like do the same thing, but with Galio. And then I also really like the Olaf pick here, because as you can see here, when they were skirmishing in the mid lane and also in the top lane, Olaf can hold his own. It was just unfortunate in the top lane that they weren't able to kill Peanut, but overall, like that fight was even. It's just that there was a slight advantage to Kingzone because Afrika wasn't able to kill Peanut, and Keen was very low when it started. Even though, like right now, the split push isn't really important from Kingzone because they're losing both mid and top lane. Top lane is constantly being harassed by Kuro. Mid lane is constantly being harassed by Kramer and Tucson. So it's constantly being pushed in. They're always going to have a lot of vision in top lane, now the top lane, and the side lane's not really gonna matter for the most part. The only ways that Kingzone can fight this is if they get a lapse for vision here, or if they try to get a pick on Keen. And they did get a pick on Keen here a little bit earlier, but for the most part, if they do get picked in the mid lane, Kingzone does, because Afrika has a lot of pick potential in their composition. That's a really easy Baron for them. So overall, like this game, I think it was a draft problem. I don't like the fact that they just blind pick all these three champions. I really don't like the blind pick Jace. I think it's really stupid, dumb, and maybe even awful. And I think the blind pick this is fine, but you really need to do it a little bit more gracefully. I don't think that picking your top three, your top side in the first rotation is generally not very good. I think that if they first pick Rise, first pick Talia, and then you pick your bottom lane, and then you pick Rise, and then counter pick a solo lane, and then pick your other lane for the last two, would have been way better than actually doing this stupid stuff. And overall, Afrika just did a really good job of doing their win conditions. Also, I do want to say Prey and Gorilla were absolute shit in this game. God just awful, just like the worst thing in the world. Prey died by himself for no reason. Gorilla died in 2v2 in the bottom lane. So, but again, like, that's something that you can kind of expect, except for like the Prey death, because that was just like super dumb. But you can kind of expect like them not doing very well against this team, this bottom lane. But also you should expect like these are professional players. Like losing to like in lane 2v2 without jungle assist or mid lane assist or any type of gank is kind of disgraceful, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I need to like try to not be as biased at all, because I feel like there's a little bit of bias in me. But we'll learn. We'll learn. So, what I'm gonna try and do is look at the draft, see what I think is the potential, then, or what can happen, and then do the business. You know. Also, I don't like the. Okay, I'm only gonna look at this after the fact, because I think also kind of I don't want to look at the win right away. Oh wait, actually no. Let's just look, because I'm a freaking tar. Okay. They win again. They only get 4 stuff, really. That's pretty sad. Okay, let's look at this draft. Khan looks very happy, very smiling. I don't know why BDD does this, but he does this thing where like he puts his mouse like this. It's pretty interesting. Very cute. Kuro also looking cute with the bubblegum. He should be a sponsor for bubblegums in the whole world. 4 men behind Kingzone. I mean, Afrika Freaks, because they are freaky. Tucson, yeah, he's just. If this looks like those like it looks like he's rubbing his clit. But okay, that's a little bit vulgar. But like it looks like those porn vids, like those gifs, but they like cover it up with something else. Like it could be like that. He's doing that, but he can cover it with act porn. Like that would be funny. But also pretty vulgar. And against the Lord. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Okay, I need to look at the draft. Okay, one thing that I do want to say is that what's his face is playing a lot of tanks, which is fine, because Camille is also being blind picked here, so he just counters with a tank, so it's perfectly fine. I think it's okay. Because he picks it. If he picks the Gnar, that's a counter from the Camille. If he picks like, he could pick like some sort of bruiser or something like that. But if he has the Varus and there's no Ashe, then the bottom lane is pretty hard to fight unless they go Zyra Khan. But they don't go Zyra Khan, which is also kind of strange. But yeah. Because I think if they go Zyra Khan, they do have a chance of actually fighting bottom lane. Yeah, I think this over-reliance on the Kai'Sa can be a big problem for Afrika, for Kingzone. Because if they pick Taliyah, which is fine, I totally think it's okay, even though it can be counter-picked. And they banned the Olaf, which is good. They picked their jungle support. The jungle and ADC. I totally understand the Alistar pick here, because you don't want what do you call this, like, you want the Alistar. Alistar is really good in the meta right now, and the fact that they're giving it away kind of shows that Afrika Freaks know that the Alistar exists and that they're giving it away, which is fine. But did they ban Shen first? Okay, so they banned the Shen. They replaced the Shen with the Olaf, so the Shen is now like something that they can pick. Alistar, I think it's fine against the Shen. That should be okay. Like this bottom lane, I think if I was Kingzone, I would try to play more for. Because I think what Kingzone are saying is that we're gonna try and fight top, and bottom lane is gonna be okay. The problem is that they have the Shen, so the Shen can actually affect those things. So instead of going all in on top, I would think I would have just picked. I think the moment they pick Shen, I wouldn't pick the Camille here. The moment they pick Shen here, I would pick something that can fight them, and then go for bottom lane, and go for like the Rise in mid. Rise mid's fine. I think it's okay. It just sucks that you have to blind pick your mid here, right? Yeah, I think that sucks. That's just super sad. Okay, but if you blind pick if you blind pick your mid, why are you blind picking your top lane? You know, I think that if you pick the Kaisa and Alistar here, totally fine. They pick the Gragas here, fine, it's okay. And then they have to blind pick their top lane, and then you counter it with something that's good against the Cho'Gath, you know, and then you can play for top lane, because I think Cho'Gath and Camille is fine. You know, the fact that they're picking it into the Camille, which shows that they're fine with it. So I would have done that more, and then you have more onus in the top lane. And I think that Kaisa and Alistar can survive a little bit better against this bottom lane. So again, I think draft super shit by Kingzone again, and really good by, but I'm not gonna say it's like awesome by Freaker Freaks, because it's just kind of given to them. It's like the same scenario from last game, but they didn't blind pick their, yeah, it's just kind of the same scenario, because they still blind picked their 3 lanes. I'm not even gonna look at the bans, because they're kind of the same. Actually, that would have sucked if they had Israel here. That would have been really good. Also with the Misfortune, because the Misfortune has been played against the Varus a lot. That's like a known counter. Okay. We're gonna look at early game jungle pathing. For early game jungle pathing, I think a lot of teams go for just like hard farm. The only really interesting thing is like when they go for Scuttle Crab. Peanut really did the same thing as last game, while they did the same thing last time. They did the same thing. One interesting thing here is that Tucson went for an aggressive invade to the bottom side early. A little bit of a blast cone scenario, and also Gragas went for the Scuttle Crab a little bit longer than usual. I think that's more for health issues and just kind of overall like hard farming. And as you can see, this lane perfectly fine for Keen. Keen is doing fine. He can just wave clear, and he can just like, yeah, he's fine. He's okay. So again, you have kind of 3 losing lanes by Kingzone, and that's just super sad, you know. And I'm gonna assume like the same thing happens as last game and to this game. Okay, let's see what the first occurrence is. 6 minutes. I'll do it this way. Okay, so they set up to the gank top. Let's see the setup here. Did they see him? Okay, so the second he goes, yeah, they don't see Spirit, right? They don't see Spirit. They don't know where Spirit is. Right now, at least they don't. Okay. And then they go for a great gank bottom lane. I really like this. We've seen this a lot. The 4v2 again. Why did this happen? Freaker Fix have constant pressure in the bottom lane. They're just duking it out. And then mid pushes in. They go for the gank bot. They blast going in and they kill. While this was happening, Talia was going for a play top, but he was spotted out. Yeah, he was spotted out by this ward here. So as you can see, Keen starts playing a little bit more safer, and this gank bottom lane becomes a lot more doable because they know that Talia is not gonna be there, and even if he does, it can be like okay. So good gank, and they don't even kill. Wait, did he die? Oh my god, are you kidding me? He just dies by himself? Oh my god. Khan just dies top freely. And then it's just super sad by Kingzone. Oh my god. Khan, you god. I mean, Keen, you god. Really good by Keen. Okay, Peanut, I like this more. More invade top lane. Mid and top are pushing, so this is kind of warranted. But he doesn't get it, which is good. For Freaker Freaks. I just don't like shitty drafts. I think this draft by Kingzone is just super shit. Blind pick Camille, I mean, why? Why? And look at the amount of pressure that a Freaker Freaks has. They're just going whatever they want. Even though they don't have a lot of wards top, it's fine because Keen can 2v1, and also he's playing a tank that can wave clear. So look at this DS. He's doing perfectly fine, and he can't really die as fast as you can. While compared to this bottom lane, they're just getting constant pressure here in the bottom side, and they can also go for dive stop. And Kais is always going to be scared. You know, they're always going to be scared. Keen's just, and this is, they're able to do this because one, the draft, and also Keen played like a god earlier. Because if he died earlier, there would have been a little bit of a problem. But this is just super sad for Prey too. He can't really farm. Like, I've been in that situation. It's just super shite. Oh my god. And also the wards by Freaker Freaks are just super smart. I mean, like, look at this ward. It just spots Peanut right there. And also, like, the ward before for the earlier gang, he gets spotted over here. So really good wards by the young Jamie. Okay, 951 Keen Khan. Yeah, this is the lane ganks. How did they even get that ward? Okay, that's Khan's ward. The classic ward. When you're pushing as a top laner, you go for wards. It's really weird because I haven't really seen the blue side one, and for blue side, actually I have seen like the Aatrox versus Griffin versus KT. He went for like here and the blue red buff, so you can go for Krugs, so that's cool. But Spirit, classic lane gank. I really like this from the Predator Gragas because you can go for really crazy lane ganks like this. He pops Predator and just kills him. Awesome, sick. I really like that. That's like the power of Predator Gragas. And just Predator in general. You can go for crazy lane ganks. And lane ganks are really good, especially if you have losing lanes. Because generally if you have losing lanes, like this side of the map is always going to be kind of sketchy. So when you go for here, you go through lane, it can be kind of scary. And I think that it might be kind of good for teams to go for lane wards like what over here when playing against Olafs and the Gragas, because they can go for these crazy lane ganks. And then we'll look at more. So 12 minutes, 12:15. Nothing really happens. Why? But I'm learning a lot. I'm learning quite a lot. Can either go for a fight bot, but does it really do anything? Okay, now they're trying to fight bot. Okay, cool. I fudge with it because Drake is going to be joshing it up. That's be very important. Something that is of importance. Something that needs to be done. Needs to be taken care of. That is the trash. Spirit is trolling. What are you doing, son? Going golden. He must be really hard. Probably saw a very attractive lady. Okay. So stupid. Why? Okay, King Prey and Gorilla try to go for an engage. It's weird though because, okay, so early it can be a problem, but once Gorilla becomes a little bit strong, then it can be a problem for Freaker Freaks. But early it's Kai'Sa just too weak. But now Kai'Sa is a little bit strong. He has actually more items than Kramer. Let's see how this fight goes. Okay, so let's slow it down, son. Okay, he just flashes. One thing that I do want to say is that Talia goes for the lane gank. Why does this look like it's... Okay. Flash pulled, but they don't get any kills. Gragas with the dope plays. That was actually super sick. Look at that. Kai'Sa just dead. Okay. Again, super late TP by Khan. Look at that. By both Khan and BDD. Super late TPs. And by that time they TP'd, Kai'Sa dies. But again, really cool. I really like that. Dude, I love Gragas, dude. This is super sick. I just love this. The Arctic Ops Gragas. Gorilla lives for so long though, which is kind of annoying. If I'm a Freaker Freaks. But he dies right here. Then at this moment, it is just pretty sad for Kingzone. Oh my god, Spirit, you god. Oh god. Khan's dead, Keen's dead, which is fine. Oh, he survives. Oh my god, that was a 3-for-0. Keen lives with a sliver of health. He lives with the amount of money I have in my bank account. And yep, sick. Again, Khan's TP is super late. That was super late. That was super late TPs by Khan and VDD. That was not good. Prey and Gorilla. Oh my god, they die again. Oh, super sad. Super sad TV. They get bottom. Now they're once they go back, they're probably gonna go Drake. Actually, no, they're gonna go top lane priority, which actually makes sense. Because once you take a turret, that's when you switch. Usually, we see a lot of teams do that. which makes sense. They also take mid. Also, Vel'Koz versus this is kind of Rise is also kind of like the Rise versus Syndrome matchup, where you have a lot of priority, and then you can also get a lot of damage in the turrets. I can't get no satisfaction. Gosh dang. Now it's a top lane play, and Gorilla is dead. Oh, Gorilla's not dead. They kill Kuro. Wait, what the hell are you doing, Kuro? Oh, they just got split up, right? Yep, they do. Not good. But then, I'm only gonna watch this more if something. So they kill him. They kill him. They kill him. They take top and they also take bottom. But everything after that is pretty much down. The only reason why I would watch this more is if Kingzone find a way to actually get more kills in the late game. If they don't, then I think there's no purpose of doing that, because in the late game, it's not that Afrika Freaks are trying to find ways to win. It's more of like they're trying to find ways to not lose. Okay. And if something happens like that, it's kind of bad. And this is fine. I don't think this is important. Like dying here, it can be like a bad if they get fed enough or get enough like resources that they're able to do something in this part of the game. But as you can see, it didn't really matter because it's all red from here, baby. Okay, so game 3 is probably a game that if Kingzone actually win. I'm gonna use the restroom because Kingzone just makes me want to piss. I am back. I bought some crackers, or Belvita, whatever you call them. Okay. Okay, interesting draft by Kingzone actually. A little bit better. Oh, okay, so they picked they picked Barris first, good. So now they're saying that we want a good lane bottom lane. But they picked the Zyra Khan, which is something that they should have done. Zyra Khan should have been picked by Kingzone in the earlier games. I think that they would have done a little bit better there. Okay, but okay, so Afrika Freaks picked Zyra Khan. This is a good counter. but they picked the Morgana so that it can be like it really do be like that sometimes. No, but like it's like you have a pushing lane. Yeah, I don't really think about that. What else? What else? What else? Um, I think they think that Gragas is going mid. This is a really cool thing about this draft is that they kind of flex the Gragas top, and they don't actually they do blind pick it, but it's a flex, so it's understandable. They picked this, and they're thinking like they're blind picking this, but they put that there, and then I'm just kind of saying stuff. But they think that they have a good that this is going blind, but he is going to be facing against the Gragas, which is an okay matchup for I think both. It really depends on the jungle pressure. But I think in lane Gragas would probably win. And then this is good. I like the Zoe here. Zoe is always going to be a niche champion, but he gets countered by the Aurelia, and then you have a what do you call this, Kindred to kind of counter the what do you call this, the Olaf. So you have a lot more kind of dueling potential. So overall, I think Kingzone are probably gonna go play towards bottom lane. I'll leave top by itself, and then yeah. But I think Afrika could do what they did last game. But I think Afrika needs to kind of pick a lane to fight for. I think probably bottom lane though. Yeah, probably be bottom lane. I think it's gonna be like a lot of bot centric plays, right? And they also picked them out. Yeah, I think Afrika should win this. How did they lose this? Did they just snowball bottom lane hard? Or do they go for top lane? Because I could actually see the top lane plays being a lot more sufficient and just play safe bot. No, we go for bottom. Yep, they go for bottom. Which is a good adaptation from the other game, because bottom just got shited on. So for, I think each lane, they can pick what they want. Or each team can pick what they want. Kingzone can play for top or bottom, but I think they drafted so much for bottom that they should go for bottom. But I think top would be fine too, but that doesn't really do anything, you know? Like having a super tank in the late game is not as important, unless if it was like a Mundo or something. Yeah. I think Kingzone would want to do the same thing. I mean, Afrika Freaks, but they just lose it. I want to see how they lose it. Jungle pathing. Peanut starts red this time. Spirit just goes for full clear, but this time they brought up Kunat, goes for a little bit of invade. He does burn flash and he dies here. Okay, so the first few kills was just kind of like an early game mistake by Kingzone. At least he got what do you call this, scuttle, so that's good. I'm sorry for making like mouth noises, it's just that these things are actually pretty damn good. Bovita or whatever. One of life's many gifts. I think that the Kindred versus Olaf matchup can be Kindred focused if he finds Olaf. I think it just matters of who finds him. And also BDD versus Kuro. I would assume that he would just push all the time, but he had a bad trade there and he wasn't able to do anything. So that whole yeah, he got chunked out and he has no mana, so he hasn't been able to do anything. And then the pushing lane bot allows Morgana to roam, so they are able to do stuff like this. Eight minutes. Go gank top. Let's see how it's set up. Africa Freaks Ward are very defensive, but they do have a lot. Okay, he just dies. Keen just dies. Maybe he should have just bought back there. Maybe I think that's a little bit of, okay, Keen, you're a god. What the hell? I was thinking you just back because you already saw him, right? But he just kills him. Goes for a gank mid, does it work? Okay, they do kill him, good. That's the level 6 power of this team. I just want to watch the turning point of how so what happens is they win a big team fight late game, or they were able to get Kramer. I'll be right back. Yeah, like for this game, I think I should skip for 32 minutes because early game was pretty back and forth, and it looked like Afrika Freaks were probably winning a little bit of it. Now they're actually, yeah, it's very even. Early game. They do get tier 2 and tier mid. Tier 1 mid can be problematic. But I think for this one, I should have to look at the 32 minutes where they win a big team fight and basically change the game. Okay, so the first Baron. Okay, let's just see how this Baron is set up. I think this is the most important part. Because I would assume that Afrika Freaks would have more priority on it because they have more wave clear. They just backed on wards, and because of that, they were able to just kind of force it. Yep, and then they lose a team fight. They get Baron afterwards. Oh yeah, they got Baron. Then they win. Yep. The early game was very back and forth. As you can see here, they get Afrika Freaks actually get the first kills, and then bottom lane. But this is what I like. I like the fact that they picked Zyrakan as a counter to like the pushing bottom lane. I like that from Afrika Freaks, and because of that, they did get a lot of like kills in the early game, and got a little bit of pressure on it. But and also in the late game, they looked like they had a lot more like priority. It's just of that one big stupid mistake right there. Like pretty dumb, honestly. That was super dumb. Because as you can see here, like top was getting pushed in. They had a lot of wards here. I mean, look at the amount of wards that they have. It's just they backed on a ward right here. Yeah, they have ward there, and ward here. You know, so they basically have control over the map, or like at least the top side. But because they backed on the ward right here that Kingzone was able to place, they saw them do that, and then they just kind of took the Baron, and then they engaged the fight and did good. And overall, like, this probably shows how good at team fighting Kingzone are, and also kind of worrying trade by Kramer. Kramer has only been really good at just kind of champions that are good in the early game, so we haven't really seen them play like a losing bottom lane, and that can be like a worrying trend for Worlds. Yeah, so that's game 3 for me, and then I'm gonna do game 4, because I think that, like, if I just analyze like the whole like back and forth in the early game, I don't think that's like too insight. I don't know if that's gonna tell me a lot in terms of Afrika Freaks, right? I don't think that's gonna tell me in terms of a lot. What this showed me here shows me a lot more from Afrika Freaks, because one they made a really stupid mistake, but that's something that everybody can do. But the thing is that in terms of late game team fighting with an AD carry like Kramer on a AD carry that's more of a team fighting focus in the late game is something that I don't know if that's like something that like I would bet my house on. Like putting him on like a Kaisa or like a Tristana or things like that, I don't know if that's productive, because this one team fight basically wins him the game. Maybe I can look at a little bit of back and forth to see how because as you can see here, they were winning the early game actually, Afrika Freaks, but yeah, as you can see, they were winning the early game. It's just that one big mistake. Yeah, so I think there's no kind of purpose to that. Keen still played like a god. He was really good. He bounced all a lot of ganks and stuff like that. But the worrying trend for me is that for Afrika Freaks, if they play like, okay, he wins with Afrika Freaks. If he plays like, I don't know if Kramer's team fighting in the late game is as good as the other AD carries that we have right now. That's kind of debatable in my opinion. Best strategy. I want to see like what he played and stuff like that. Let's just look at summer playoffs. Yeah, he only played Kaisa once. When did he play Kaisa? Against Viper in the hands. So this is when they played Kaisa, and as you can see here, he's playing against Ezreal. So that's not really a pushing or like a winning bottom lane. But so that's one thing that I want to look at more. Yeah, what is this? I want to look at more Kramer losing lane, not playing for bottom lane, having losing lane bot, and also how Kramer team fights. That's one thing that I want to look from Afrika Freaks, because as you can see from Afrika Freaks' game so far, their early game is pretty sound. It's very Korean, very strategic, and they play a lot towards their winning lanes. One thing that is really interesting about them is that if Keen is in a losing matchup or a matchup that he has to kind of survive in, he does really good at it. And the problem is that can Kramer do that? Is that something that Kramer can do? Because as you can see here from the games that he has, in the playoffs itself, he's only played Kaisa once, and if you look at the all competitions, like he hasn't really played a lot of like Kaisa, or like he has a 40% win rate on Kaisa, and in terms of like all of these are kind of pushing, except for Ezreal, he has a 50% win rate on that, but like he really just is good at, and also he has no Ashe game, so that can be very no Ashe, and also bad Kaisa. So in terms of like losing bot, that could be like a huge problem. Yeah, that could be a really big problem in Kingzone. And for a little bit more of the same here, but your boy Keen is playing the Rise. I'm actually pretty excited for this game. So I have some time for Overlord later, which I'm very happy about. You may say that this style of VOD review is a little bit cheating, saving time. Honestly, I don't think that nobody likes doing VOD reviews where like you nitpick every single goddamn thing, where like it makes you hate the game. Like, what the hell? I'd rather do this because I don't want to like look at it blind. I want to have like some things that I'm actually looking for, and like it making sense, you know? Because if you're just looking at it blind, you're like kind of critique every single little thing. Then I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know. Maybe it is. Okay, but one thing that I've seen a lot from Afrika Freaks is that they're blind picking, counter picking mid a lot on red side. And I'm pretty sure they picked red side every single game. Yep, they picked red side. Red side. Counter picking mid, and also red side priority. Now we are going to watch the Kingzone versus Afrika game 4. I like the draft from Kingzone a lot more, especially on red side. This is a lot more standard. Varus first, and then they pick this. I think I would have picked the Rakan here, but again, I think that's fine. I think this is fine versus the Rakan. They could have went for the Morgana again, honestly, because they did fine last game, and that's something that they can do again. But I think they want the Alistar here for a little bit more team fighting pressure, and also level 6 kind of, or like overall like skirmishes in the bottom lane is gonna be a little bit more important. So they pick the Rakan, and then they have to blind pick. So they pick the Rise, and they pick the Orianna against it, which is good. So what this is telling me is that Kingzone are playing a little bit more for team fighting in the late game, while Africa Freaks have really good 1-3-1 already. This 3 is really good because it has a lot of really good pressure, a lot of good wave clear, but also at the same time it has a lot of disengage / engage. Rakan can do the charm and like kind of do that, and also you have Xayah ultimate, so she can be a little bit safe, and also again you have Gragas barrel, and the side lanes is really good because you have Keen is going to be the one that is going to be in the split push, so he's going to be split pushing a lot, and then Kuro is going to be the one who's going to be wave clearing top and going mid. So what's going to be really important for Kingzone is that they have a lot of like wards in the top side, but that's something that they can't really do because there's not really like Orianna's not gonna push in top all the time, you know. You don't really expect that from him, especially because of the fact that it is counter picked by the LeBlanc. And also this is really sick by Africa Freaks. They pick the Rise here and they counter pick it with the Orianna, but then they do this the flex to the top lane, and then they play the LeBlanc there. So I think that's really sick. That's really cool. And overall, Kingzone are playing for more of a team fighting focused game. If it goes for a late game team fight, I think that they would win. And Africa Freaks have more of a really good 1-3-1 split push, something that I wanted them to play more, but it's something that they are all like really freaking good at. But when you look at the games from before this, they played a lot more kind of bot centric gameplay, focusing a lot more on getting turrets, kind of like very Korean-esque. Okay, now we go to actual games, and we're gonna look at the thing, whatever it's called, the timeline. Okay, so they just outright win. Everything after 24 minutes is okay. So it's just a freaking stomp. So I mean, again though, like you see, they have a good lane bottom mid, good lane top, and good lane bottom lane, and they were kind of tricked from the Rise thing. So it's like, it's kind of understandable. So if you watch this game, it's probably gonna be more of the same thing from the first 3 games. Yeah, so I don't really think there's anything of importance watching from this game, but I'll still watch a little bit of it. Wait, so Peanut goes. Oh, Gragas had to solo clear, so he had to go back after the third camp, and because of that, Peanut was able to engage, kind of go for a invade. He loses, his spirit loses blue buff there, and there's a little bit of a scuffle mid, but nothing really too happens. So one thing important is that BDD loses his flash. They push mid and it's probably gonna go back. Oh, yeah, he didn't, which is fine. Okay, so Spirit is back, going for top to get his top side, and probably go for gank top. Okay, he goes back. So, can they go for gank top? Okay, well, what happened here? Interesting gank by Kingzone here. I think this is one of their very first. Actually, no. Okay, so um, again, one thing that I do want to say is that Kingzone's bottom lane have been playing really bad this series. Again, Prey dies 2v1 by himself, something that shouldn't really happen. Because Alistar's not there, he backed, and maybe this is a little bit greedy from him. Okay, so he just gets destroyed by the that's just super bad. And Kingzone go for the TP, and they do get 2 for 1. So they were able to get 1. So they kind of salvage it. The kill goes to Cho'Gath. That doesn't really matter in my opinion. It's still gonna be like a pretty bad time for him in the top lane. It's not really about Keen like 1v1ing him and stuff like that. Keen just is able to scale in the late game. The team fighting is going to be a little bit stronger, and the overall kind of skirmishes in the top lane is going to be a little bit hard for the Khan. And even in the late game, I still think that Keen is going to be a little bit stronger, especially with the Rise. Okay, so what's the next thing that happens? Okay, from it looks like a bottom lane gank from Kingzone, and they do get Kramer. Do they get anything off of that? No, they don't. What happens next is that they're okay. Prey. Oh my god, I love Predator Gragas. Look how fast he was. He just runs down bot. He just runs down bot and gets Prey. Super sad, and that's again Predator Gragas. They get bottom lane because of the pressure that they had earlier. Man, that was a sick gank by Figure Freaks. I really like that. That was cool. They should switch now though, right? So they get Dragon. Fight Dragon? Okay, they don't get Dragon. Now they get Dragon after they clear bottom wave. And now after that they should probably switch. I like that. Catching them in the switch can be beneficial. That's really good by Kingzone. I like that. I like that. I'll write that down. I like that. It's cool. It's dope. Yeah, but now it's still gonna be pretty bad for them because Zaya right now is super strong. Not super strong, but like she has a lot more pressure than the Varus. Like Zaya Khan versus this bottom lane is pretty boom in my opinion. And look at this top side is gonna get pretty flooded from them, and Keen can just scale pretty easily. Khan is pretty big though. So they get. So this is the big fight for Rift Herald, and Figure Freaks are starting this because they have a lot of wards here and they're trying to force a fight. So they get a good engage. And they get 1 kill, which is totally fine. They only get 1 kill. They probably would have wanted more, but they wasted a lot of that, on that fight, and now they're probably looking to reset and look to do the same thing. But the problem is that the Rift Herald might be gone, and Baron is something that they don't really want to do at this moment of time. And probably I would expect them to go for top lane turret and or mid lane turret or dragon if it's now it's up. Keen gets chunked out. Did they still win the team fight? Okay. Really good by Prey. Spirit gets kicked. And now they get Dragon. Again, Dragon priority by Afrika Freaks is pretty bad. But one thing that I do want to say is that Kingzone are naturally gonna have a lot more rewards in the bottom lane because of the fact that they do have a little bit more onus in the bottom lane. And all of King's Afrika's wards are on the top side of the map. Okay, actually no, they ward here. I'm stupid. Yeah, it would make sense because they're not really focusing top. Yeah, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'm just trying to sound, I don't know, I'm dumb. I think this was just a bad fight by Afrika Freaks, right? Because Kuro gets chunked first and Gorilla goes for a huge three-man pulverize. Then Spirit dies. Once Spirit dies, they can't contest for the dragon. Okay, now this is probably the game turning fight. We can't even see the setup, but they get 2 kills top and they get turret. Then after that they get Rift Herald, and they're probably gonna use it mid. But now, as you can see, the split push is gonna happen for Afrika Freaks, or the 1-3-1. At this moment of time, this is probably where they are the strongest. So they just really need to play this kind of style. Probably use mid, the Rift Herald. Yep. And once that turret's down, it's gonna be really easy for Afrika Freaks to siege. They don't get it, but that's fine. That's already pretty down. Now, as you can see, they put 4 here. I kind of prompted Afrika Freaks to go for a little bit of a mid play, but that's one thing that with these 1-3-1 compositions is that there's always going to be lapses or times where it's not pushed in as far and stuff like that. And overall, like in the game, there's no general stuff. Like when I say like top lane has priority, they can gank here, doing whatever. There's always gonna be times where the wards expired, the enemy, the top laner backs or something like that, and that's when you make a play. So that's really good by Kingzone. That's when they make a play right here. When top lane and bottom are not as pushed in as they would like, so they can still kind of hang out in the mid lane. But eventually, they do probably have to go top. Get that. Khan does get caught here. Probably dies. And they get the dragon. Yep. Then this is the big team fight mid. Probably should not be fighting if they don't have Khan. Okay, let's just see how this goes. Okay, so good engage by Tucson. Then everything else is just pretty boom. Okay, 5-8, 42.3. They take mid. And now the 1-3-1s is just kind of on full force by Afrika Freaks. Then everything after that is... Yep, they basically win the game after 24 minutes. yeah, that was a big team fight, and everything after that is pretty done. And this is when like the 131 from Freak of Freaks is really in full force, and we'll kind of skim it. So, what Kingzone wants to do is get a lapse in vision and go for a big team fight, or go for an objective. But as you can see, it doesn't really happen. So yeah, that was the VOD review for this. I still don't know if I'm like doing it the right way. Probably not. But I like it more when I'm like looking for something, you know, because I don't want to just. Because I feel like doing it all the time is not really as efficient, or maybe I'm just being lazy. Probably a little bit of both. Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. Um, um, yeah, but this game's not the same as the other two games that Freak of Freaks won, because Keen actually went for the split push. The other ones were a lot more bottom lane focus, but Afrika's draft here was really good. I really liked the flex top. That was really good and kind of messed up Kingzone's whole playstyle. So yeah, that was basically it.